It's a new year. You know what that means? It's time for us to do our annual Did We Meet Our Goals from last year in our gardens. It could be a good episode. It could be a depressing episode for me and Batavia. Either way, we'll find out right here on the Backyard Gardens podcast.
To have a good harvest, one must plant good seeds and must also use the right kind of fertilizer. The carrots have grown large and firm. How good they will taste.
Welcome to the Backyard Gardens podcast, where we talk about all things gardening. We are your hosts, Ben and Batavia, and you can find me gardening in the country.
And you'll find me gardening in the city. Get ready as we dig deep into this
wonderful world of gardening, where we learn to grow and grow for change.
We want you to be a part of our gardening community. DM us a picture of your garden at Backyard Gardens TV on Instagram, and we will share it with our listeners.
Leonard, go ahead and send us those lists. Send Batavia my list and me her list. Thank you. What do you think?
We have all year to cover off on these goals. I mean, I figure it may take him some time to pull the list. So.
You would think, but you don't know. So, yeah, it's 2022. Can you believe it? We made it through another rotation around the sun.
It makes me happy.
Does it?
Yeah, I've been pre-gaming New Year, New Me for like a month. So
here we go.
I am all in. I am hopeful. I am ready. Actually, next episode I'll be ready, because this one we look back and it reminds me of my lofty goals, and yeah, we'll see.
I met all of my goals. I'm gonna go ahead and say, I forgot all of my goals, honestly, but I know I met them. I can feel it deep in my bones. So
my gut tells me that I could just rewrite my 2021 goals for the ones that I didn't actually meet. I can just remove them.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. I got my list.
Mm-hmm.
Good night. Somebody was very, how should we say, ambitious last year. Yeah, Batavia was ambitious, I shall say. Yeah, it's good to set these goals, I think. Mm-hmm. So we do this every year, and if you want to go back, if you want to rewind all 83 episodes that we recorded last year, that's right, you heard me, 83 episodes. At least that's what Spotify told us. You can go listen to last year's podcast like this, where we talked about our goals, and it's interesting to see, at least for me, sitting here, hearing all the things that I proclaim in January of what I'm going to do. And man, honestly, it still makes me nervous. I hope I did them. You know what I mean? Because I feel like if not, I'm going to have mud on my face.
Well, there are a couple of things, because it's when we're, there was a time where I would set goals just generally, personally. And then it was I'm not going to set goals, New Year's resolutions and things like that. And then I'm like, the hell with it. I want something to look forward to. I want something to look back on. And so for these garden goals, and because they're around your garden, they're in January. And for both of us, it's one of the colder times for us, and it's you have some things going on in the garden, but nothing like at the height of your garden. So it's kind of funny that while we build up to what these goals are going to be all year, we actually set them around this time of year. And I believe that's the explanation for why I have 28 different goals on the list. Because I have big garden eyes, in January. So
well, and I think that's the point. We've talked about this time and time again over the winter. This is the time of year to do this, to reflect and to kind of decide what do you want to change from last year, you know? Yeah. And sitting in these chairs, we are forced to think out of it a little bit more than some people, I believe, because it's a talking point, but I've come to realize that it's super important, because I remember years and years and years ago when I first started gardening, my goal was just grow more food, be a better gardener. But now that I'm niching down and really getting detailed in it, it's interesting to see what I'm coming up with. But
wait, so the truth of the 3-year cycle for Batavia, the build up for the 3 years? That really has come from the point of not needing to hold myself accountable. And it's kind of I could have, you're not recording, your recorder isn't on.
My recorder's on.
Oh, okay.
I'm scratching my neck. What you talking about?
Okay. You gave me that look like.
No, I was scratching my neck. I got a giant beard that makes me itch.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, it comes from a place of not holding myself accountable. And
Yeah.
I'm going to take a look back to see, and this is big talk for someone that knows what my goals were and knows what I did and didn't do. But it's, this is a different way of being held accountable. And my hope is to maybe get to things a little bit quicker. I'm good with taking time to do things, but, you know, at some point it's just, you know, putting something on a Post-it and saying, I'll get back to you. Like I want to garden with more intention, if you will.
Well, at what point, let me ask you this in your 3-year cycle. Mm-hmm. And if you're new to the show, first of all, welcome. And second of all, Batavia, when she gets an idea of something she wants to do, it takes her 3 years to execute that plan. So that's
Minimally.
her 3-year cycle.
Minimally.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go ahead and just say 3 years because it's better than 5 or 6. But
Well, the only reason why I
point
say
in your-
minimally, hold on. The only reason why I say minimally is I listened to one of our 2020 episodes where we were setting goals, and I was on year 4. And so I'm like, but anyway, go ahead.
So at what point in your life do you just say, you know what, I'm not even going to worry about it anymore because I might not be here in 3 years? Like at what point do you just stop that? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, I
it
think
can
it's
grow
going to
and
be
grow. It'll be a while, I hope.
maybe in my I think when I get closer to 80.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
so
I'm
we'll be on
basically-
here.
It'll be short-term goals by then, like like make and eat lunch today. Like-
Yeah, eat lunch. Today is the day I eat lunch. I got you. So before we get started though, I want to know, do you have any personal New Year's resolutions that you have declared for yourself this year?
I do,
Non-gardening related?
Yeah, I do, but let's save those for the end of the show.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. That's not fair, but
Mm-hmm.
all right. Well, look, without further ado, I'm gonna glance over your list. Actually, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna take a break, and I'm gonna glance over this list and get my mind straight, and then we're gonna
Good
come
luck.
back and see if Batavia met all 85 of her goals. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the Backyard Gardens podcast.
If you like what we're doing and you want to continue to support the podcast, head over to our Patreon page to sign up.
You can also make a one-time donation using PayPal. Both of these links are in the description.
With your support, we can continue growing and helping others in their gardens. See ya.
We want everybody to have a garden, and we're going to give you a chance to win free seeds every month.
Head over to backyardgardenstv.com and enter your email address to be entered in all of our giveaways.
Good luck. I hope you're enjoying the show today. If you could do us a simple favor and share this show or any one of our other shows on your social media, it would help us greatly. All we want is to help people grow in their gardens, and this is the one thing that we can do to get more people exposed to gardening and help them be successful in their gardens. Okay. Now, who goes first, me or you? I think ladies should go first.
Okay.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
It's okay. It's all right. Mama Schmugger, yeah. So the first goal, and this won't necessarily be in order, but this one's important. It was your first goal, was to build your soil. So this came off of you doing your, you had your soil tested, kind of going from 2020 into 2021. You had the results, and you really were setting out to build soil in the garden year of 2021.
So 50% there, which I will take as a total win. Well, actually more than 50%, but 5 of the 7 gardens I have, damn, that's a lot. 5 of the 7 gardens I have are on their way to being corrected. So, I mean, you know, I feel like it is a definite process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I definitely did it. My garden, I mean, as you've seen, is just vastly improved since the year before. But I think that there's still room for improvement. I think there's always going to be room for improvement. You know what I mean? I guess I should talk about what I did to improve my soil.
Yeah. I mean, maybe even it'd be interesting in understanding what your plan was to improve your soil, and then how
Yes.
much of that you actually accomplished.
Well, basically, my plan to improve the soil was, I mean, honestly, it was just amending the soil with lots of compost, Honestly, more compost than I could purchase, which meant I had to make compost, using different mulches at certain times. And to be quite frank, I started that process as soon as we hung up that day from making that podcast. I went outside and started all of that because it was as simple as taking and putting a layer of mulch down for the winter and then putting compost or something on top of that in the spring. That in itself acted to build the soil. And throughout the course of the year, so in the spring when I went to go plant, I would dig down, I think I put like an inch of compost over it, maybe 2. Once I got 2 inches down, guess what I found? A layer of leaves and hay or straw. But now when I go and I dig down, I find nothing but soil. So all of that has since leached its way, broken down and turned into compost. And using a variety of amendments and a fertilizing schedule to help not feed my plants necessarily, but focusing on feeding my soil. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. And I'm not there yet. Right. So there's great intrigue around the continual effort of building your base, your soil. Right. So just stepping into, and not even consistently yet, fertilizing, like I'm kind of really focused on the actual health of the plants themselves, like whatever I'm growing in that space at that time. And while I add things like compost and all, like it's not as intentional as kind of some of the steps that you've taken. And I'm okay with not being there yet. But it absolutely does resonate. I'm picking up on what you're throwing down.
Well, the saying is necessity is the mother of invention. And I mean, that's basically what it was. It was necessary that I did it. You know what I mean? So if I was coming from a place from like, you know what, I think I'm just going to try and improve my soil, even though I was having no issues, it's a lot harder to do that because you don't really see the turnaround. Now the trick is staying on top of it from year to year. So
yeah.
Now I have since quadrupled my compost pile since last year, and I'm on my second cycle of it. So at this point, that means that I've made it, I've used it, I've made it, and I've used it, and now I'm making it again.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm actively using my own compost in my garden at this point.
Are you only using your own compost?
For the most part, depending on how big my compost pile can get this winter and how well it breaks down, I'm thinking about buying 1 bag of compost per garden bed just to kind of add that in, just as a security measure. But as we keep building and building more and more and more, then it will. So it's a long process. Compost doesn't just happen overnight, not to the magnitude that I need it.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know how people with farms do it. I don't know how they get compost.
No. So that's one goal. I'm going to call it met. I'm going to call it for what you wanted to do in 2021 met, because coming into it, when you said it, 12 months ago, and when you said it now, like I knew that it wasn't going to be a one and done, like a singular year goal.
No.
So you made some great strides. Congratulations.
Thank you. And for the next episode, there will be more in depth on that, but we'll hold off. All right. Here we go, Batavia.
I'm sorry.
Here we go. So in 2021, did you support or donate time to a local gardener?
Oh, great one. You went off order, right? I was ready
of course I did.
Yeah. Okay, good. Maybe you won't get back to the one I was huffing and puffing about. So I absolutely did. And it wasn't as intentional as I had planned it to be in January. So there is absolutely, there's a tinge of that coronavirus is still out there, but I really just didn't make the external effort like I wanted to, I guess proactive effort. However, I did do a small consultation on a neighbor's garden, which is it's walking distance from my house, which for me is like a block and a half now. So I feel like I for sure donated some time. I mean, we were out there hours, and I've gotten a couple of updates from her. So I'm going to mark that off as a check mark. It's a hard one. I mean, I'm not counting any conversations I've had with people, other gardeners online, because I know, sometimes I share tips with some of those folks. So not that I wanted it really to be local. And it's hard because sometimes I'm gung-ho about that thing. And I realize that people aren't really where they really want to be to really start something. So the year before, I did a very similar thing to a good friend, went over and spent hours, with them. And that came of nothing. It's a little bit disappointing, like not because I spent hours there, because it's my hope that they'll remember at least some of that. But you have great hopes because you feel like there's one more gardener to be born. So all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and mark the goal achieved. But I kind of stumble my way into it. And sometimes that happens.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you needed to go out and run a full-blown seminar for 50 people to call it a win. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're talking about a world in the state of it's in. And, I mean, let's face it. It's not like there's people on the street going, hey, I want to start a garden, but I don't know where to start. That's not how it, generally that's not how it works. Yeah. So the fact that you actually stepped out of your box and did that, which I know is not easy for you sometimes. So
yeah.
And nothing wrong with that. It's just, I call that a win.
And for those that are like, what do you mean not easy for? So there is Batavia on overload. And sometimes, how I'll say on the show, like I'm self-editing as we're talking, sometimes I do that as well, just in random life. And I find myself with the garden, like I really have to temper my expectations because I get so excited about it, and so it's either I need to go all in or it's kind of like as you're pulling over in your car, I may say, hey, here's a tip or two if you ask. And so it's hard for me to find that middle space, because what I don't, my biggest fear is I don't want to turn off a gardener. Right. So I'm always trying to, and especially because it's a few years now where someone locally, I'm trying to make this into smaller enough pieces where the person is, not scared off. Luckily for this person this year, she had already had like the beds like dug up, and it was more about tweaks and more about giving her some additional confidence that she was doing the right thing and was taking the right steps. So it was easy peasy. And I think new friendship was developed out of it too, which is really nice.
That is nice. And I think that that's actually the perfect time to step in and help somebody. Because if somebody, let's say you go, somebody's backyard's not even started, and you're like, okay, first thing you need to do, you need to, figure out what you want, dig a hole, and then you got to put this in there, and you got to do that. And they're like, well, they start getting overwhelmed. I mean, look, anybody can dig a hole, anybody can make a box and put in, put a pot or whatever. So I think the time to step in my mind, and I could be totally wrong, is when somebody has started growing and now they have the real questions. What is this? What is that? How does this go? How does it? I mean, we see it all the time. What is this bug? What does that do? Is this bad? Is this good? Is this growing good? When do I pick this? When do I water it? How much water is good? It just, it goes on and on. I think that's the good time to step in personally.
Yeah. This, if I'm not mistaken, this was like she had everything set up, but she didn't have things planted, if I remember correctly. And it was pretty late in the season as well. And so, you know how I am. My garden used to go in June or July, right? And so it was helpful to be able to say, you're a block and a half away from me. You could absolutely still buy and plant things now. You'll be fine, right? But, I try to meet people where they are. And sometimes it's kind of hard to gauge where people really are unless you really know them personally, like you can read between the lines. But
yeah, I've helped a few people and spent a lot of time and effort into it, and then they never even planted a plant.
Yeah.
So, and it kind of sours you because you're like, man, I just did all that to help you and I didn't have to do that, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So what's the next one? Hit me.
All right. I'm going to have to stick it to the order that Leonard gave them to me in because I'm going to confuse myself if I don't. Grow roots. And then I'm going to give you a bonus. And I looked twice, my January 2021 notes and my, current notes when I will look back. The third goal was grow more roots. So I wrote that down twice. And I mean, Leonard didn't strike it when he was storing the notes, filing them away. So we must have said in the conversation, you came back around like, I'm going to grow more.
I must have. And
that's a
I
classic
have
Ben thing too.
It is. It is something stupid, I would say. So yes, I have grown sweet potatoes, turnips, rutabaga, kohlrabi, which is debatable if it's a root, but we're going to go ahead and classify it. Carrots, radishes, parsnips, and I think that's all the roots I've grown. No, I did garlic, which was an epic fail because I grew the wrong kind. So when I went to my local home improvement store, I bought the garlic. I figured, hey, they're selling it here. It's for our area. It was hardneck garlic. So that doesn't grow well here because hardneck garlic needs a solid cool season. And because we fluctuate cold. And because we fluctuate so much, we need soft neck garlic. So that was not really my fault, but it kind of was, but whatever. And I did try to grow some onions, but they didn't work out so well either. So yeah, I think I met that goal. And I'm currently growing the same, except I have 100% more rutabagas harvested so far. So that's good.
All right. Good for you.
Yeah.
I
did it.
Do you like rutabagas or turnips more so as a substitute for potatoes?
They're about the same, honestly. Okay. Yeah. They really have about the same flavor. A lot longer. Yeah, they take 100 days versus like 50 or 60.
Yeah.
But they're a lot bigger. And they don't grow with the wax on it, just so you know. So
yeah, I'm glad that that's noted. The wax is kind of freaky.
All right. That was an easy one. So let's give Batavia an easy one. Did you pressure can this year, Batavia?
God darn it. You know how many times leading up to this episode that I was like, I still got time.
Wait. Let me stop. Let me pause and just did you take the pressure canner out of the box?
You know what? The level of love I have for you. There are 2 points in the show.
It's a new year, new me.
Yeah, when you said when you added garlic to the list of the roots, although, you didn't get much of a harvest, I appreciate you still like, hey, I gave it a try, right? Because that was the intention for the goal. And then, like, we haven't talked about this, so you didn't know for sure. You knew at some point,
not at all.
Late summer that I still hadn't. But I mean, I could pull off, miracles.
I know that you don't do your canning until very late summer to early fall.
So, because we're ready to go to Curb, obviously, I absolutely did take it out of the box. I watched a large number of videos, including some from my dear friend here. I read the manual. I found a very nice place in my cabinet where I'm organizing all of my small appliances. So it has a prominent space there. It's in a basket.
Okay.
So yeah, I did all of that.
Well, good. How many? Okay, so let's go to the 3-year cycle. How many years into the cycle are we? Shit. Do we need to skip that part of the question?
No. Here we are. So I purchased the canner in 2020.
Okay.
And I had intentions on canning many years before that. However, pressure canning was added to my list as a part of 2020 and a little bit of the panic, when it came to all that was happening. So 2020 was year one, 2020 year two was 2020 year one, 2021 was year two. We're actually in year 3 now.
Okay. So there's still time.
Although my warranty is probably running out. But other than that, still time. Yeah. Still plenty of time.
Just go online and get you a gasket set for it. And no, you definitely made strides to get there. So this is your year coming up.
No, it's not. It's well, it is my year coming up, but let's wait until our next episode when we talk about what's happening in kind of 2022 for us.
Next episode.
Yeah. So, but I'm beating around the bush. I actually did not can a single thing. I was very close. I actually went and bought some store-bought potatoes just based on the kind of the sizing and everything, and I was going to give it a whirl. And then I looked up and they had, chits on them, and I'm like, well, maybe not so much now, so that's the time between when I purchased them and when I was like, all right, I'm ready now.
She said chits. I love it. So I was at the grocery store the other day and I saw they had little baby potatoes in there, and I definitely was like, I'm gonna buy a bag and try and can them and see, because I like canned potatoes, not tomatoes but potatoes. So that's one thing I'm excited to try when I do my potatoes this year. Is if I can can them, because they're delicious.
I wish you luck with that. For you, these are all of the alley-oops. Grow a protein.
Yes, I did. I grew black-eyed peas, and I'm kicking myself in the derriere. So I still have, I have a bunch of them that I'm letting dry still, but I think when it's all said and done, I'm probably gonna have about a bag of, like you would get from the store, of black-eyed peas. So it'd be, I think it's a pound. I probably have about a pound of black-eyed peas, and I put them on one trellis, and I grew that trellis, and I didn't even put them heavy in the trellis because I was like, I don't know how they're gonna do, and lo and behold, they did amazing. So yeah, moving forward, I'm gonna keep growing more and more black-eyed peas and really max out those trellises, because honestly my garden looks like an erector set and it looks like a skyscraper. And as I go through my mind of trellising vegetables, there are a lot of vegetables that are trellising that I don't grow, and I need to really embrace that more. And it's just different types of beans, stuff like that, because I thought at one point, I was like, oh, I'll put tomatoes on my cattle panel and grow it up. I'm like, why the hell would I do that? I got a whole bunch of other stuff to grow. So yeah.
Okay. What did you go into the year planning to grow as a protein versus what you actually grew?
A bean of some sort. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely like a bean. I just didn't know. I don't know. For some reason, I was just like, there's no way you're going to grow a bean. It just can't be possible. And once we did, I just got my last beans off like December 1st.
Yeah.
Like I was letting them finish up, so they're prolific as hell.
They're a longer season crop though, right? Most beans, or the beans you released. No?
I think I started them in the middle of June. Because I wasn't really itching to start them. You know what I mean? I kind of like procrastinated, which I definitely won't this year. I'm going to get them in early.
Yeah. And
get on top of them. But yeah, I wasn't really doing anything crazy. So yeah, I put them in about sometime in June. And once it's like with your snow peas. You know how you grow snow peas and you're like, damn, they're not doing anything. And the next thing you know, boom, they're up top. So it's the same idea, but
okay.
I wish I would have planted heavier, long story short.
Yeah, so that's been, because I'm a lover of all beans, with the exception of lima beans. And when I say all beans,
I just got to love those.
Yeah, you do?
I just started.
Oh, okay.
I found ways to like use them in soups and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and we called them frogs when I was a kid. I don't know why.
And while I haven't had every bean that exists, every bean that I've tried, with the exception of lima beans, I've enjoyed. But I kind of feel like, back to it's a package of like a 1 pound package, and Garden Space is at a premium. And I've just had pause around it. Like I have some seeds, if you will, bean seeds. But I'm going to keep on teasing here. Like let's talk about that in some future episodes. Kind of my view of that opinion that I've had over the years and how that may be shifting.
Yeah, we're going to expand on that. But let me just say this. Yeah, I may have gotten a pound, but I sparsely planted that. And then if you look into like, and people are going to be like, shut up, Ben. But nutritionally, how much beans you're supposed to eat at once, especially like on my kind of diet as a pescatarian, because they're higher in carbohydrates. I'm not supposed to eat that many beans. So theoretically, a pound of beans would last our family a fairly long time. So if we ate them like we're supposed to. But I get exactly what you're saying.
If you're going to go ahead and steal the thunder of the next conversations, we could do that here.
No, we're going to stop right there.
All right, okay.
Because there's other beans as well to talk about.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure which direction you were headed here.
I'm heading in any direction. It's a new year, new me. What can I say? How's it feel?
I love it, man. It's music to my ears. I know what you're trying to do, though.
All right. Man, you got the hard ones starting up. Batavia, did you tithe your garden? Did you give away at least 10% of your garden? Here
we go. This is the dark side, folks.
Were you greedy?
I was greedy. I did not. I mean, so I absolutely did with each season. No, with my summer garden and my fall garden, I gave away food. But I had a means to try to measure it, and I didn't do a good job at that. So I really can't say like the percentage, but I know it wasn't 10% of my garden. And I won't even say that it was an unrealistic goal to set. I just really didn't have steps in place to actually pull it off. Right. So we'll see if that becomes a 2022 goal. But I am very pleased with what I was able to share, what I was able to give away. I've made some happy folks happier with some good garden treats. So
yeah, I mean, dude, well, first of all, measuring 10% is tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the spirit of it more so than anything, you know. Like if I was just growing tomatoes, I could measure all of my or weigh all of my tomatoes and I'd know, but that's not what I'm doing.
No, and I think too, you know, for me, like I didn't give away a lot of my summer produce, but in the fall, like I've been giving a lot of radishes and kale away and stuff like that because I just get a lot of it. But it's hard because when you talk about, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you had a little bit extra you wanted to can or something like that and put away for the winter. Is that kind of what cut into your 10% maybe?
A lot of it tied back to the plan I had for my garden. So we had these goals set in January of that year of 2021. And I was still planning my garden, but I kind of knew what was going to happen. But I made a plan for things I wanted to grow, but not necessarily like what's optimal for giving away. You know, like, I wasn't intentional with it. And so I've been thinking a lot about that over the course of this winter. And one could argue, like, if you have food, you can give food away, right? Period, right? But my goal was to be more of, all right, this is a particular thing that these folks can use. My neighbors across the street, the husband loves okra. So, you know, my intention was, all right, I didn't give them any okra the year before. I wanted to give them some okra this year. That didn't work out, you know. Tomatoes were kind of weird this year, you know, in 2021 for me, right? So maybe there are a bunch of explanations that I have for the why, but I think it ties back to me still working through the plan of now what's a 3-season garden, which is still pretty freaking cool. It's a great problem to have.
Yeah, it is. And I think, now, you know, for me, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say the balance of that, though, because another question that you'd ask is, if you didn't give it away, do you feel like you wasted, you know? And that's uber important to me. So not only do I want to share my garden with people, right? There's an abundance and I want to share it, but I also want to be very careful of wasting things, right? Yeah. So I'm happy to say that I don't feel like I was wasteful last year. Did some things spoil? Did some things, how many tomatoes did I have that I brought inside and I realized they were cracked and then there was mold on them? Like, yeah, some of them went down the garbage disposal. But generally speaking, I don't feel like I wasted many crops, which is also a good thing for me, really important. But I still had room to give ultimately.
Yeah. What holds me back is, like, you know, in the summertime, I want to can all the tomatoes I can. You know what I mean? So that holds me back from giving away. And plus, quite honestly, like, I don't have a lot of people that are, you know, ready to receive something like that. Yeah. You know, it's tough. I mean, I had somebody down the street that I've been giving some kale and stuff to. And I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, why don't we just get them to start a garden? Like, they're interested, you know, just like that final push, you know what I mean?
the years before, like I would basically people would come by and, you know, you do a walk and, you know, you show them what's going on in the garden. And I would prefer for people to come into my space and pick what they want versus because it actually connects them with the garden as well. Like there's a little bit, I want you to have at least a little bit of skin in the game, right? Versus me, and I probably said this in previous episodes, like I'm okay with dropping things off, but it needs to be to someone that I know is going to use this particular thing, you know? And so
your idea of skin in the game and my idea are two different things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you just open your door and there's a box of food there, like that's like no skin in the game at all, you know, like travel to me, like, and it gives you a chance to show off a little bit, maybe, you know, it gives me some company. Maybe
you want,
you know.
When you say skin in the game, I'm thinking, oh, you need to have some skin in the game, get your ass over here and grab a shovel and let's get to work. You know what I mean? But
help me dig
I get
a
what
hole
you're
in the
saying.
spring. No,
yeah, let's do this. So, well, you know that we next year is a new year, or this year is a new year. Excuse me.
Yeah, it has to be because there's a new me.
Amen.
All right. So, did you plant more flowers, young Ben?
Yes, I planted more flowers. No, they did not bloom.
Is this year 2 for this?
No. No, so this was I planted a bunch of perennials, and typically they take 2 years, you know what I mean, to really, like, the first year they get it. I hope that the first year they're getting established for these. But you know, we had a really dry summer too, so that didn't help, but everything's still there. It's still in its place. There's more flowers, and I'm starting more flowers this year, so there's that. So I'm working on it. I'm on a 3-year cycle for the flowers, okay?
I wasn't going to say it because I'm just not trying to get people to, like, you know, jump in the boat with me. But yeah, that's what it sounded like to me too.
Yeah. I mean, part of the problem I have is everything is so spaced out that I need to just focus on one small section instead of trying to put a flower here, a flower there, one here, one there. Because what ended up happening was because I spread it out over so much space, I had to water all of that space to get things established.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, what I should have done, and all y'all listening, take a note of this. If you have a big space you have to do with, is I should have just planted one space, taken really good care of it, densely planted it, and then the next year moved to the next space, because that space would be established. It would be good to go the next year, and it doesn't need to be, you know, coddled as much. So,
and tell me again, was this direct sowing or was this starter plants or
so
a combination?
I can't direct sow flowers anymore. I'm not even going to attempt it. It just doesn't work because my soil is so fast draining that I can't keep up with it. So I have to start everything inside. Yeah. And I don't mind. It's fine. You know, but they take a lot longer to grow. Now, I will say I did grow some things. And I was like, holy crap. They're never going to stop growing. Like, they're going to have full life cycle in my house before I get them outside. So there's that. Those? I did some Coreopsis. And by the time I got them outside, they were, 4 feet tall. I'm like, good night. I can't even, you know what I mean? So they neglect. What happened is I planted them and then they just fell over because they were just too tall with no roots.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
But we didn't have a wet spring either. That was the issue. So I remember in spring, we didn't get rain for a good 6 weeks. So that really messed everything up. Like, I didn't get any blueberry harvest because they all shriveled up. I didn't get any of the seeds I started. A lot of the flowers didn't take. So there was a lot of outside pressure, which brings me back to your tithing situation. And upcoming soon, we're going to be talking about this, I hope, because there's factors going on that makes us not be able to grow things like we were used to or something like that. So there's a lot going on out there.
Yeah, I was just going to say shout out to, Mother Nature reminding us all that we are not solely in control. Screw you, Mother Nature.
And I'm joking. I love you. I love you, boo. Okay.
Right. I mean, I got like 28 more.
No, you do. So this one will be a quick answer. Did you feed the bees and the birds?
Yeah.
And and then I'm going to give you another one.
Wait, no, I want to talk about it.
Oh, well, all right. Well, this is going to be an 8-hour episode if we do this. Go ahead.
So I'm not even going to commit to making it quick. So I didn't do a birdhouse or anything. I don't think that I had that on the list last year. But I feel like I may have had my best experience with flowers, and specifically sunflowers. Like sitting here doing this podcast, I could look out during the summer and I could see birds flock to some of the sunflowers. And it was so cool because more birds than bees, interestingly enough, for those sunflowers. But I really felt like we were in it together because they ate a lot of sunflowers, but there were whole sunflower heads that were unbothered, right? And I was able to harvest them, later in the season. So I did that. And then I think I was just very conscious of some of my plantings when it came to the bees, right? There were many days where I was either out working and mostly in the front yard garden, just a note, which is actually something I should make a note of and come back to. But anyway, as I was stopping and people would talk, in front of the house, they're like, you see a bee there, right? I'm like, yeah, so definitely it's an environment for them. So uber pleased with that. Yes, I finally get an A+ on something.
You do. Well, here you go. Here's another one. I'm going to give you 2. Did you start seeds every single month?
God darn it. Can you let me enjoy one win here?
Oh, I thought you did.
No, I totally didn't. And that was a downtime for me. So I did very well starting in January through summer, like through the beginning of summer. So up through like maybe May into June, so that's 6 months, 5 or 6 months out of the year, I started seeds every month. Looking back, once summer hit, I was outside and I stayed outside. And, remember when I was whining a couple of years ago around I don't want to start seeds in July. And I started seeds in July begrudgingly. And I really enjoyed the fall lettuces that I had. So I didn't do that in 2021 and I do regret it. It was just really, really hard for me to get back into starting seeds once I had moved on from it. And that was the whole intention of
the summertime is difficult.
Yeah, the whole intention of setting the goal for every month was to be consistent so it could lead me to something like a fall garden, right? So I still had a fall garden. I took some other steps to get there, but yeah.
Well, I don't beat yourself up because you're newer to starting seeds. This is your second year, right?
2021 was the second year, yep.
I think you've done a fabulous job starting seeds, and I think that going until September starting seeds, or not September, but up until summer, I think that's important because you did 2 seasons of seed starting. So it's natural to get tired of it and then move. So I'll give you a win on that one because it's hard to start seeds. It's a monumental task to keep on top of it and try and do it all year.
Well, and also I'm kind of wired to build up to things, right? So I kind of have to get into the spirit of that thing. I have to encourage myself to do that thing. And it takes sometimes a lot for me to get there. And then and if I don't get there, I just let the moment pass me, So when I didn't sow seeds in July, I could have come back around in August. That didn't happen either. So now it's the next big start will be January 2022. So here we are.
There you go. What you got for me?
All right. I have 2 more for you. Did you eat pie?
Oh, dude, we did eat pie. I forgot about that. We ate more pies, but not only pie. So yeah, we had
you have to go back and you have to tell these folks why we're talking about eating pie on a garden podcast.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, Leonard, but the thought process was the pie was made for the gardener, so it's easier. So every pie has a fruit or vegetable, whatever you want in it, and it just made sense to eat more pies instead of cakes because it was a direct connection to what we were doing. So that being said, here is a list of the pies that we have consumed over the year. We had
wow. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. So we had blueberry pie because we picked a bunch of blueberries, and we had strawberry pie, which was gross. It happens. I mean, what can I say? But the real winner for the pies this year was the tomato pie that we made. So it was amazing. So I told my wife, I said, we made, so basically, hold that thought. We'll come back to that. Mm-hmm. It's a very good pie.
Okay.
And I told her after I ate it, I said, you need to go make 4 more pies. And this is why we did not give away any tomatoes. And why I don't have as many in the freezer, because we made a bunch of pies and froze them.
Oh, so, interesting. Okay.
So we have pies to eat. And I think we're down to 1, and I'm not very happy about it, but that's okay. Yeah. And spoiler alert, I am growing more tomatoes next year so I can have more tomato pies. So
I remember you mentioning tomato pie, but clearly you didn't really assert yourself in the conversation, because it's January of the following year and I've not received a pie recipe. I've not made a tomato pie. I feel cheated.
Lucky for you, today's recipe of the day might just have that. So
okay. All right. I'm just saying. All right, let's move along here before I start to get, all in my feelings about this.
Okay. All right, Batavia. Did you spend more time enjoying the garden outdoors instead of working all the time?
Yeah. I did. I knew there's going to be a moment where I started to get into my feelings in a good way. So I totally did. And what helped with that was I started, on a whole, I spent more time in the garden because I had my first official spring garden. So I was out earlier in the year planning for that. But what I found was it allowed me to spread some of the kind of annual tasks over a longer period of time. So I didn't have that pressure of, it's May, you got to get all of this shit done, right? You got to get this stuff planted. Here we are, June, like you're losing time, right? So that was one of the things we have talked about. And for the first half of the garden, the growing season, I had a overhead sprinkler on a timer. And so that drastically reduced the amount of time I spent just watering, right? So that was really
How did you like it?
Significant. I really enjoyed it because I was home most mornings. I'm sorry. So I was home most mornings, so I can, in some cases, even hear it click on. And it was just really refreshing knowing that, one, that thing is done for the day, because I would always try to get out early in the morning when I water by hand. And at some point, you just can't beat that heat, right? So the first half, the only reason why I stopped, I unplug the timer or cut the timer off, was I was having some trouble with a diseased tomato plant, and I was concerned, actually in the backyard, I was concerned about kind of spreading that disease with the overhead watering. And so we know that it rains and that comes from overhead, but the constant 2 times, 3 times a week with that, I thought it may have been too much. And the same thing for
What was the disease?
Oh, I don't remember. It was with the Roma tomatoes, though. I don't remember what it was.
Like a leaf spot or something?
Yeah. Like almost like leaf rust or something like that. I ended up yanking the tomato plant.
I have a cure for it.
Yeah, of course you do. You had a cure for it, but it was too late by the time we talked about it anyway.
The front yard, I was in the testing mode this year, so.
Okay. The front yard garden, remember I had the trouble with your typical... your tomato or your cucumber plants are starting to turn, right? And so again, I didn't want to continue to just drench those plants. So I did transition back to hand watering. And a part of that is the thing I know and feel comfortable with too. But all of that said, automating something, if you will, allowed me to spend more time in the garden and not working in it. And I'm going to say one more note about that, and then we can move on from my side. And that is... that also led to me spending less time in the house processing the food. So I was outside enjoying the garden, so to speak, and I couldn't get into the mode of processing food as early as I probably should have in the season.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
Yeah.
But are you going to use a sprinkler again next year?
I bought a sprinkler last year, I'm going to use one again this year.
Well, I'm saying, we had this
through the entire growing season. I'm not sure, but to start out, absolutely.
Well, first of all, it's totally respectable that you're like, hey, I have a disease. Let me stop using the sprinkler. Like, I get that. But, we had this whole conversation about, do I get the $300, drip system, or do I just get, use the $20 sprinkler? And, my proclamation was like, hell yeah, I want the $20 sprinkler. So, are you happy with it though, or would you still consider another method?
I bought two $20 sprinklers, one for the front yard, one for the backyard. I had one long hose, so I bought a second hose because I wanted to run I didn't have to, but I wanted to run the sprinklers at the same time and not have to worry about dragging the hose back and forth. And then I bought, and it's on our Amazon list in the show notes, I bought the one timer that has the dual spouts or whatever. So
dual zone.
Yeah, the zone. So that was my expense for it. And I am uber happy with the investment and the relief and the feeling of, because we're teetering around this, but I'm not convinced about my opinion on it yet. But the idea of, are we really underwatering? Is that some of the problems we're having with our garden? And so it did make me feel like I was more so properly watering my garden. When it came to the timer, how long I had it set for, and so on. So,
yeah, I agree with that. I'm firm in my belief that I think we're underwatering, but that's neither here nor there. So look, let's go to the recipe of the day before we finish up.
No, we got to get this last one in.
No way. I want to do the recipe of the day. I want to do
this last one in.
I'm doing it. This is tomato pie.
You got to keep it short. You got to keep it short.
I always keep it short.
So yours was, don't buy a single vegetable seedling this year.
Nope, I'm not going to do it yet.
If I can't grow it, damn it, I'm not going to have it. We'll leave that as a teaser. You will answer that question on a future episode.
I'm going to answer that question after the recipe of the day.
Okay,
but first of all, we're going to do the recipe of the day.
Ben, what question do we get asked the most?
I would have to say it's probably more something like, what are the products we use in our gardens the most?
Ding, 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 ding. That's the correct answer. Hey, there's an Amazon link below.
When you get over to the Amazon store, know that you're going to be supporting the podcast, but all of the products both Batavia and I have used in our gardens. If you guys want some backyard gardens gear,
go to the link below and check out our t-shirts, mugs, pint glasses, and other gear.
All purchases go towards helping to support the show, so thank you so much in advance, and we hope you enjoy. We want to see you all over on YouTube, so check us out at Backyard Gardens TV to watch our podcasts and other gardening videos. Okay, so luckily I promised you a tomato pie recipe, but more luckily, Batavia, it was easy to find. It's not a crazy recipe at all, actually. And what it does is it's basically cheese pizza in a pie form. So take it or leave it. It's the most amazing thing I've ever eaten. So the ingredients go for one pie shell. You can make it or you can buy a store-bought one, whatever you want to do. I'm not going to get into that. Half a cup of chopped onion, or I like to use red onions, 3 to 4 tomatoes, and then you want to cut those in half, and then basically you want slices of tomatoes, a half a teaspoon of salt, a quarter cup of basil, fresh from your garden, please, 2 cups of any kind of grated cheese. We used mozzarella cheese for ours, but you can use Monterey Jack, cheddar, whatever. The one ingredient that I don't normally like, but because it's in here was fine, was a half a cup of mayonnaise, and then a teaspoon of some kind of hot sauce, and then black pepper. And if you really want it, since it does taste so much like pizza, you could put it like a pepperoni or something in there as well. But you're going to preheat the oven to 350, and then you are going to just pre-bake your pie crust for about 8 to 10 minutes. And then just fill the pie with everything in there and bake it. So you want to drain the tomatoes first. So you just put the salt on the tomatoes and drain them, because we didn't do that the first time and it was real soupy. So once we did that, it made it a little bit better. Mm-hmm. You can just mix everything up, and you can either mix it up or layer it. So we did a little bit of both, and you bake it for about anywhere from 25 to 45 minutes at 350. So I don't do the baking. That is my lovely wife. She is the baker of the house. So I think the way we do it, I think we did it for about 40 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to tell you, just go ahead and do yourself a favor. Make 2 pies at once so you can stick one in the freezer.
So you guys have thawed them and baked them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've thawed them, eaten them. They do fine. So you just want to slow thaw it and then put it back in. Don't put it in the microwave. God, please don't put it in the microwave. You just put it back in the oven and crisp it up. And it's amazing. It really is. It changed. It's one of those dishes that changed the way I will grow tomatoes forever.
Okay.
How's that? How's that for a proclamation?
I mean, remember when I grew celery that time last year, and you were like, how is it that I didn't know you grew celery?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the idea that there is a pie with tomatoes in it, and I mean, the hours I talk to you more than any other human being. Like, you hear my voice more than any other human being, and that's outside of the recording of these episodes.
I know.
So I'm not. It's a new year, new me. I'm not going to be vengeful. I'm just going to say that I'm disappointed.
Oh, come on.
That's so mother-like. That
mad.
is so like parent guilt. Like that's absolutely what I was trying there. Although it's a new year, new me. And then 2, I don't understand how there's anything that's life-changing for you that has to do with tomatoes. And
I don't either.
That didn't trigger, I need to leave all of my tomatoes in my will to Batavia. Like, I mean, something has, I don't understand. I don't understand how we got here.
Yeah, I don't either. I feel like it's a twisted, it's like a twist in the story, but I don't know, man. For some reason I must have slipped my mind, but I remember she made it. I was like, you made what? And then as soon as I put that first bite in my mouth, I'm like, it's on, baby. Like, where's I need another piece now. So, and we also put greens in it too at one point too. We sauteed them and made sure, you got to make sure stuff is drained, but you know, you can play around with it and stuff like that. But if you like meat or something, you can add it in there. I don't recommend it because, you know, meat's gross, but that's a different story. Joking. All right. Enjoy it. So what is my, what was my question and my quote apparently?
I mean, so we'll talk offline about the way you made me feel about tomato pies, and that now I am officially like 8 months away from ever even being able to enjoy this with homegrown tomatoes. So we're not going to be accountable for that. Like, no. Okay. All right. All right. If you're ready to move on, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, we move on from that because I do feel guilty.
All right, so and this is your last one. Don't buy a single vegetable seedling this year. If I can't grow it, damn it, I'm not going to have it. And I already know the answer, and this is one more layer of guilt. And I'm so proud of you for this answer. So go ahead, take it away, friend.
I can grow it. So damn it, it was in my garden. I did not buy a single seedling. It was amazing, yeah. It was amazing. I put a rather extensive seed order in last year, and I'm going to be crass right now. My butt puckered up when I saw the price. Like, I was like, oh shit, this is trouble. And I told my wife, she's like, that's a lot. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. This one pack of lettuce will give us 2 years worth of lettuce, or I could buy 2 years worth of lettuce for like 500 times the price probably. So it was very hard. Let me put it that way. And there were some things like I didn't get around to starting cilantro this year. Mm-hmm. And that's a very big staple in our house. So we didn't even eat cilantro. So that was, you know, kind of the issue. But as a whole, yes, we did start everything from seed, and I just started my spring seeds now. So, like, by the time you're listening to this, it was a couple weeks ago. I started some seeds. I don't know if they're going to take, but at the same time, like, I need to get a head start. And after this show, I will start clearing out and starting seeds indoors to get ready for the year. So yeah, the trick was having my space set up appropriately for the task at hand. That is the ultimate trick for what we did.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, and I'll come back around.
And what it did, more importantly, is it set me on a path to be a more self-sufficient gardener and a self-sufficient human being. And that is my ultimate goal.
Yeah. So, to probably, and it's hard for me to calculate every moment from like last year, but I'd say the two most proud moments that I had for you, was your fall garden, right? You know,
dude, it's so great. I don't know why, but it's like, awesome.
I feel like at some point I need to be crying about someone's garden, and mine didn't elicit that feeling. So I'm going to shed some garden tears for yours. I mean, just really proud because I know how long you've been striving for that, and to see it, like to be friends with you in a moment where it comes to fruition in this space. Cause I know this is, you know, you've been gardening in the space, like 4 years, 5 years or something.
4 years now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's an adjustment, and to be able to, and all seriousness, to fine tune this thing from a timing standpoint and to get it right on the 4th year, not even under Batavia's calendar, like, you know, completely different climates. That's pretty impressive. So to see the joy, and you're pretty low key about it. Like, this is one of those moments where like my friends and I, like, we brag on each other. Like, that's my moment for you. Like, I want to brag on you for that. And the second thing, and I have observed this all throughout the year, your diligence, and not just because it was a goal of mine, but you really set a great example for me. And it was my intention to start seeds every month, but you really showed me, like, just by observation, kind of not necessarily the exact timing, but the pace, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know? And you were very low key about it as well. I hope in 2022 we're still using low key, because I just caught on to it. So I hope that it hasn't gone out of style yet.
Oh, low key is it's in style forever.
And I don't think people really say going out of style either, but that's beside the point. Here we are. So really, really pleased with that. And that's the reason I had to get that one in, because I do want to have an opportunity to give you some kudos on that.
Well, thank you. And I'm glad you said something about the pacing of it, because, you know, it's not, I don't want to say it, but I see it on like social media and stuff like that. And I see people starting their seeds 6 weeks too late. You know what I mean? And then I see people starting seeds and they have everything started at once. And it's like, I have this, and if you go in the link below, blah, 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 Amazon, you'll see basically in my seed setup, I have this giant shelf. And it fills up in an order. You know what I mean? Like, it's not all of a sudden, like, you can walk in one day and it's like, boom, it's filled with stuff. It's a very slow but long process. And I'm glad that you were able to kind of, it helped you see me pacing. And maybe I need to talk about it more on, you know, YouTube and stuff like that, because I think, you know, watching people grow stuff, I feel like a lot of people miss a lot of opportunity to grow food. And I mean, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier, and we will elaborate on this again, but like, in the state that the world's in and the way that, you know, I feel very possibly that we could be depending on our own gardens one day for food, that you want to take advantage of all of these times. And if we go back to stuff like, you know, the fall garden, like, that's a direct response from the very first goal that I had set for the year was building that soil. That's a direct response, because what that means is my soil not only grew food in the spring and in the summer, but then it flourished in the fall. So I fed it all the way through.
Come on, somebody. Shoot. We're about to go back to the old school episodes where we're on this thing for like 200 minutes. Like,
Yeah. But I mean, seriously, like that's what it all comes down to, you know?
Somebody's here to get this word. If you're all still out there.
Yeah. If you're still hanging with us. But I mean, it's really important, you know. So I guess maybe, you know, especially as we come into seed starting season, maybe I'll be more vocal about seed starting. I guess the whole issue I had with it is it's not sexy to look at. You know what I mean? It's just
well, see, it's more than seed starting. Like in the typical way that we see it. Because, I mean, everything comes at the beginning of, you know, spring, earlier, maybe end of winter. We all start seeing the same videos, the same posts, you know, everyone's so excited about it. And I relish in it, right? But that, I mean, we were starting seeds around the same time, right?
Yeah.
But that's not the thing. The thing is, again, that consistency is probably another word that I'd use to describe it. The consistency and because you know how I like to do it like in one fell swoop. Like I like the idea of getting it all done. Here it is, 3 days. I've taken a day off work. I've gotten it all done. But that's not how this works.
No.
Right? You know?
It's not, and that's what I mean is like breaking down, because I mean, I have trigger dates. And when that date hits, it's time to go plant, you know, and I might only plant, I mean, I'm not trying to sound crazy, but I might plant 48 seeds, you know, seed pods, but then that's all I do for that day. And then when the next one hits and I'm gone. You like my snap? Very,
I mean, yeah.
It's a very distinguished snap. But then, you know, that kind of sets me up to do more and more. So I'll talk more about it, and I think I'll put more out there. It's just, it's hard to do, you know, because you don't know what people want to hear. And at first, I didn't think a lot of people started seeds. And it turns out we've done a couple polls and stuff, and a lot of people start seeds, which is good. So
yeah, but let's not rob Peter to pay for an episode, you know, later in the month. So yeah. But congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. That is my proud moment, and it's interesting that Leonard sent it to us for the last one. So, all right, you have 2 left.
Oh shoot, I have more.
Yeah, so one of them's easy, and one of them's not. So the easy one is: did you grow more roots?
I did. I'm very, very, very pleased with roots. Carrots, rutabaga like you did, radishes, parsnips for the first time. I did beets. So beets and carrots I did in ground and in containers, which I was pleased, very, very pleased with. It is probably the answer for me for sure for fall gardening. So I am still... I'm the apprehension I had before, I think I've gotten past it.
Okay,
right.
good.
The idea of not being able to see kind of because there's some ways around it. Carrots are one of those that hide for a long time, but a lot of the other vegetables, like once they start forming, you're going to see they're forming, period. You know? So uber pleased. They're going to have a space in my garden, roots in general going forward.
I like that. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd be the king of roots. Just saying. But
was that the moment where you're used to me talking for 3 more minutes and then you're just, oh, well, shoot, she's done. Okay.
No. No, but last one. Did you stop procrastinating in your garden?
I mean, on some weeks, yeah.
Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, I was like at the gym on the treadmill those first 3 months, and then, you know, not so much. Yeah. There definitely were some things. I think I got all the way through like maybe June or July with like, there's a task I have, like, this is my schedule, this is what I'm doing. And then summer got a hold of me. So there's some things that I clearly put off. It happens.
But you made a step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it was, you know, a bit like to say that I'm going to stop procrastinating about everything just as the way I'm built, you know? So I feel good about the steps that I took. And I'm not even sure if I'm going to get further into the year when it comes to procrastinating this year, but, you know. Okay.
You're making the right direction, though. Yeah. A little bit of time. You're on a 3-year cycle.
Everyone gets a trophy. Yeah.
Yeah. We won't talk about that. Mm-hmm. That's for a totally different kind of podcast. So that leaves us to now your personal resolution. Do you have one?
So I have a couple, but the one that I will share that is very much connected to gardening, but just life in general, is food organization hashtag. And I just created that thing. That's a thing now. That was a
quick hashtag you made.
Yeah, like it's a genre.
You're plotting that shit.
Yeah, it's officially a genre. So I am so far past some expiration dates when it comes to things. And I'm just like, shoot, I'm still eating it, right? And a lot of that stuff is fine. But being a bit more aware of what I have in the house for food. Yeah. And it's a real thing. Like I wasn't joking a few episodes back when I said like this is the 4th year for me when it comes to some organization projects. And I've decided that it's more important to me to organize my pantry, my freezer, my refrigerator than it is my closet. So I'm kind of redeploying my efforts.
That's I mean, it's important. And organization doesn't happen overnight, Batavia.
No, it's you don't have to make me feel better about my 10-year.
I'm not making you feel. Dude, I've had this conversation like 5 times in the past week. It seems like like everybody I know, because it's that time of year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it takes time. Like, just stay the path and just do it. You know what I mean? Like we do it all the time. I have to clear out my closet for like the 5th time in the past 2 years. It happens. My shed. I don't even want to talk about my shed. So, do you want to hear what my groundbreaking resolution was?
Oh yeah, this was gonna like shock the world.
Shock the world. Yep. Get ready, everybody. If you're not sitting down, sit down. I, Ben Gardner, am going to learn how to eat with chopsticks. Super important to me, though. So you can say what you want, but it's super important to me.
Didn't see that coming.
I know you didn't.
2, I love that these goals are so, I mean, this is one of a few, I'm sure, of yours. They're so different.
No, that's the only goal I have.
Is that it? That's all?
That's it. Okay. That's the only goal I'm making. This year, I'm going light this year because I don't want to fail but so many places.
Have you tried like before and just not stuck to it? Okay.
It just sucks. Like, I just, like, when I pick it up, like, I feel like there's something wrong with me when I'm using them and I can't hold anything. And I'm like, you know what? There's got to be a way. So I'm going to like get me a nice pair of chopsticks. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to eat most of my meals with chopsticks until I get it.
So
that's how it is.
I enjoy sushi, and that was probably my first real experience with eating with chopsticks, but I don't know how to really eat like rice or noodles really with them. So I wouldn't say that. I'm not joining you in the goal because clearly I got enough on my plate. But
yeah, once you get your food organization,
the entire month of maybe not.
Yeah, so that's my goal. It seems kind of stupid, but to me it's really important. So
yeah, okay,
we'll see.
Well, as I look through storage organization videos, I'll keep an eye out for chopstick videos, and I'll forward you those. I'll share those with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll let you know of a video I watched online that helped me when we get off, helped me go through everything in my life. Because we went through them, and it was rough. So
I need you to listen. This is not for life. This is not for life. Nope, I have no intentions. I'm not tackling my life.
I'm with you, boo. I'm with you. All right, everybody. So look, it's not a secret. Well, actually, it is kind of a secret, but we're coming back to YouTube soon. So just stay tuned for that, okay? And, yeah.
I hope they heard that because you know how loud I listen to things. I was leaning in like, what? I kind of read your lips there. But listen, come check us out next week. We've been teasing it the entire episode. And so next week you get to hear our 2022 goals.
Yeah, hopefully I can finish them in time because I'm having a massive brain fart, but that's okay.
Yeah, well. It definitely won't be 85 goals for me, so know that.
Yeah. Yep, and mini-sodes are coming back soon, so everybody, we got you. We got you. We're reorganizing them into a more efficient manner for you, so yeah. So everybody, from the bottom of our hearts, or from the top of our hearts, whichever one's better, and from the from the depths of our gardens, we wish you a happy new year. Okay? I hope everybody had a good New Year's. I hope everybody's safe. I hope you're strong and healthy and your garden plans are getting into effect because, damn it, we're fixing to plant our garden soon. Or excuse me. I got excited. Tell them something good.
Let's go. Oh, see ya.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. Please follow us on YouTube at Backyard Gardens TV.
Instagram at Backyard Gardens TV. Over on our website, backyardgardenstv.com. And then we have Patreon at Backyard Gardens.
And don't forget to check out our links below to help the show. Thank you so much for joining us as we learn to grow and grow for change. Cut.
Now you know why people feel like celebrating at harvest time.
All over the world, people have feasting and good times when the crops have been gathered in.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for checking out the Backyard Gardens podcast.
If you like what we're doing and you want to continue to support the podcast, head over to our Patreon page to sign up.
You can also make a one-time donation using PayPal. Both of these links are in the description.
With your support, we can continue growing and helping others in their gardens. See ya.
I hope you're enjoying the show today. If you could do us a simple favor and share this show or any one of our other shows on your social media, it would help us greatly. All we want is to help people grow in their gardens, and this is the one thing that we can do to get more people exposed to gardening and help them be successful in their gardens.
Ben, what question do we get asked the most?
I would have to say it's probably more something like, what are the products we use in our gardens the most?
Ding, 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 ding. That's the correct answer. Hey, there's an Amazon link below.
When you get over to the Amazon store, know that you're going to be supporting the podcast, but all of the products both Batavia and I have used in our gardens.
We want you to be a part of our gardening community. DM us a picture of your garden at Backyard Gardens TV on Instagram, and we will share it with our listeners.
We want everybody to have a garden, and we're going to give you a chance to win free seeds every month.
Head over to backyardgardenstv.com and enter your email address to be entered in all of our giveaways.
Good luck. If you guys want some Backyard Gardens gear,
go to the link below and check out our t-shirts, mugs, pint glasses, and other gear.
All purchases go towards helping to support the show, so thank you so much in advance, and we hope you enjoy. We want to see you all over on YouTube, so check us out at Backyard Gardens TV to watch our podcasts and other gardening videos.